What's the foundation of community leadership, team building, community building, or even the fabric of our families? Belonging. Some experts call it buy-in. Some consultants refer to it as mutual affinity, others as social cohesion or corporate culture. But in this Melanie Minute, our host Melanie Taddeo sheds all that malarky and gets to the point, reminding us that it's about belonging. We either belong and are made to feel that way, or we don't. A stronger sense of belonging is that essential ingredient for corporate leadership, community building, a healthy family, and a thriving social environment. No exceptions.
Welcome to another Melanie Minute. Have you ever walked into a room and looked around and asked yourself, do I belong here? I do this all the time. I actually remember walking into a room at a conference I was attending, and the room was filled with innovators, entrepreneurs, and leaders. And it was interesting because I didn't doubt my skills. I didn't doubt my experience, and I most certainly did not doubt my value. But what I doubted was if I belonged. Not because of who I am, but because of how I was being seen. Or rather, not being seen. You see, the attendees there didn't see me as a leader, as an educator, or as a contributor. They only saw my disability. And when only part of you is being seen, belonging disappears. You may be physically present, but emotionally, socially, and professionally, you're on the outside looking in, and this isn't a good feeling. This moment stayed with me because it taught me something powerful. Belonging is not about being invited into a room, but belonging is being seen for who you are as you are when you get there. And real belonging has no exceptions. When somebody feels as if they belong, something remarkable happens. They show up fully. They share their ideas. They take risks. They're innovative and they're creative, and they grow. But when somebody feels like they don't belong, they shrink, they stay quiet, they disengage, and sometimes they leave altogether. This isn't personal, this is universal. And this is why it's so important for us to understand that belonging impacts us all. And everyone belongs, no exceptions. When you look around the world, belonging is a concept that everybody wants to strive towards. In the workplace, belonging directly impacts engagement, productivity, and retention of employees. When an employee feels as if they belong, they're confident, they're committed, and they collaborate. They not only do the job, but they invest in the mission, and they actually do more. In the community, belonging contributes and helps build connection. It breaks down fear and misunderstandings. It provides opportunity for collaboration. And when people come together for a common goal or shared responsibility, it builds stronger, more resilient, and more inclusive communities. But belonging also impacts individuals. It impacts our mental health, our confidence. And when we understand that we matter, we see the potential of what's possible. It's amazing to see what we can accomplish when we feel like we're supported and if we belong. This is belonging in action. And I see it in our communities and in everyday life all the time. Sometimes when I go to organizations and see how they create a sense of belonging, I see people thrive. Not only are they growing as individuals, but also as leaders. It's really an incredible thing to witness because they've had somebody who, first of all, welcomed them, somebody who listened to them, and somebody who actually believed in them before they believed in themselves. So they felt in a safe space to grow and do great things. This is where leaders emerge. It's amazing to watch. But on the other hand, I've also seen where belonging doesn't really work. And this happens more often than you think. They say they create a culture of belonging, and on paper, everything looks great. But in fact, in actuality, in practice, differences are tolerated, not embraced. Accessibility is an afterthought, not embedded in everything they stand for. And this is when people disengage and people leave, not because of their abilities, but because the lack of belonging. So what can we do about it? Well, the first thing is we have to really understand that everyone belongs, no exceptions. We need to open to hear what people have to say, and we also have to check our biases at the door. We need to listen to understand, not to judge or to interrupt, but to really comprehend. We need to ask questions such as, how can I best support you, or what do you need to succeed? Listen to those responses and actually take action on those asks. But as leaders, again, we need to know when it's time for us to take a step backwards, to allow other people step forward and shine in the limelight, to showcase their gifts, talents, and abilities. We need to also recognize that sometimes it's an uncomfortable situation, and it may be uncomfortable for a while. But if we provide the platform for people to come together and share their lived experiences and different perspectives at the table, we'll have a more innovative and creative situation because we have a lot of different great ideas from different takes. The best thing about creating a sense of belonging for anyone is we know how it feels not to belong. We know what it feels like when people don't see us as we are and don't accept us for who we are. It's uncomfortable. It's not a good feeling. So why wouldn't we want to create a sense of belonging? But this takes time, and it takes effort, and it takes intention, because we have to change the mindset. We need to shift from, do I belong here, to how can I help others feel as if they belong, and really think about the other person, not about ourselves. But what's great is when we do create this culture of belonging and do our part, the leaders emerge, the gifts, talents, and abilities showcase and shine, and something amazing happens. Productivity, innovation, creativity all flourish. And before you know it, something amazing has happened where every person has played a part just as they are. So I encourage you, the next time you walk into a room, instead of asking yourself, do I belong here? Look around and ask yourself, who in this room can I help them feel like they belong? And finally, if you don't feel like you belong or you're not being seen for who you truly are, you don't have to stay. There are people across the globe waiting to welcome you in a place where you will belong. So don't stay. Take action. Move on. And remember, everyone belongs, no exceptions.
You have been listening to Connect for Life, the podcast. Connect for Life is a Canadian-based registered charity committed to eliminating barriers for people with disabilities. Visit connectforlife.ca and join us in helping people with disabilities become the champions of their growth stories.